Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Average Joe Hockey Report. In this video, we're going to go over every Canadian team and what I'd like to see them all do. We're going to start with the Vancouver Canucks, and what I'd like to see from the Vancouver Canucks is do something with your defense. I don't know, just saying, I honestly think that Quinn Hughes is the only legit defenseman on Vancouver. Uh, Right now, Daily Faceoff has Luke Shen paired with Quinn Hughes on the top D pairing, and I don't mind Luke Shen, but ideally, I think he's a third D pairing, not a top D pairing. So, yeah, I think it just goes to show what the depth is like on defense when it comes to Vancouver. As it is too, like Oliver Ekman Larsson's production is not what it once was. Um, not the biggest fan of Tyler Myers at $6 million. Mind you, he's only got 2 years left on that contract, but still. And the two other guys are Travis Dermott, Tucker Pullman. I don't know. I just think they need to shore up their defense somehow. Whether it's move a few parts and whatnot. Yeah. The next team we're gonna go over is the Edmonton Oilers. And what I'd like to see from the Oilers is basically the same thing. You know, uh, you look at their defense, and Darnell Nurse. There's people that say that he's overrated. Daily Faceoff has him paired with Cody Ceci on the top D pairing, and no, I don't think that again along with Luke Shen. I think Cody Ceci is more of a third D pairing, not necessarily a top four guy. And then I like Evan Bouchard, and I'm glad, I'm glad he had a. I wouldn't say it was a breakout season, but he had a good season last season. Um, uh, but he's being paired with Brett Kulak, which they re-signed him as well. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Kulak. I think he's also a third D pairing as well. I thought they could have made a trade for Jeff Petrie to shore that up, even though they would have been meant to giving up quite a few assets for Petrie that they didn't want to. And I do like Philip with Duncan Keith retiring. I wonder if that means Philip Broberg plays a full time role. And I'm a big fan of Broberg, but it's going to take him a while for him to break out. So yeah, I don't know, just not the biggest fan of the depth on defense regarding Edmonton. The next Canadian team we're gonna look at is the Calgary Flames. And what I'd like to see the Calgary Flames do is just stop underachieving already. You know, I every time I think, every time I get high expectations from Calgary, and every time I think they're a well structured franchise, they just find ways to disappoint and underachieve and whatnot. I like I thought they did well in the Matthew Kachuk trade. I like Mackenzie Weegar. Um, I even like the depth they have on defense, but I just find it frustrating whenever they just come up short every time. If they if stop underachieving means making a few big signings, big splashes, whatever. I guess so be it. But I don't know. I would just like to see them, succeed for once, because honestly, I honestly think they have a well-structured team still. Yeah. Next team we're gonna go over is the Winnipeg Jets, and what I'd like to see from the Winnipeg Jets is play Ville Heinola. Like, I honestly think, you know, when it came to blue line production, Josh Morrissey led the way for the Jets with 35 points, which is good for him, season high for him. But regarding the team, I think it's a bit of a disappointment. Uh, you know, ever since Neil Pionk's first season in Winnipeg, when he hit 40 points, he's kind of declined a bit since. Has hit around like just less than 35 points, whatever, whatnot. And, Nate Schmidt, while he did have a better season in Winnipeg than he did in Vancouver, there was mixed reactions about Schmidt. There's some people who weren't necessarily the biggest fan of his or whatever. So, I don't know. And I really think if Heinola, was put in a position, you know, to succeed, even if it means, put him, putting him on, the third D pairing and sheltering him, I honestly think, the offense will still be there for him to be productive, and whatnot. I don't know. That's just what I would like to see. Yeah. Next team we're going to go over is the Ottawa Senators. And what I'd like to see the Ottawa Senators do is sign an up and coming goalie. Have a young up and coming goalie. Because I like their current goaltending situation with Cam Talbot and Anton Forsberg. However, Talbot's 35 and Forsberg's 29. And if you take a look at their other goalies, that are young or whatever, I don't know. I don't know if any of them really have the potential to make it on the big squad. So, yeah, I think you try to find yourself, an up and coming goalie, or just determine what's your long term goalie situation. Basically, that's what I like to see from the Senators. The next team we're going to look at is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you know what I have to say about that. I think the Leafs need to focus on and develop Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren. I think those are your top two defensemen. If you look at the Leafs as it is, during this series, while I disagree with this, there was a reporter that said that Justin Hull was like the worst defenseman on the Leafs. I don't know about that, but they currently have him on the third D pairing with Mark Giordano. Jake Muzzin and TJ Brody, it looks like they're looking like they're on the decline. So yeah, I'd say focus on Liljegren and Sandin, have them develop, make them make progress as to being two of their top four defensemen, and yeah. And the last but not least, Montreal Canadiens. What I'd like to see from the Canadiens is move a contract of some sort, somehow. Because right now, at the moment, they don't have money to sign Kirby Dach. And I think, Montreal's going to be a team that's going to be in the basement for a while. So try to move a big contract, should I say, whether it's Mike Hoffman, whether it's, well, I don't want to say Christian Dvorak's a bad contract, but it's an expendable one. Because I think, with Suzuki, Dach, and Evans, I think, that's three decent enough centers that you can move Christian Dvorak for. And I think you could I'd like to think you can get assets for Dvorak. But whether it's Hoffman, Dvorak, maybe even Josh Anderson, who's been a trade rumor in the past, maybe possibly even Jake Allen, because at this point no goalie's gonna save them really. So having Carey Price and Samuel Montembeault is not necessarily the worst thing, or even, I don't know. Do you take a look? I'm trying to move maybe Joel Edmondson or David Savard or something like that. I don't know. Just get some cap space of some sort. That way, you're in a better situation for next season. That way you could sign Kirby Dach, whatnot, and yeah. This video is mostly based on opinion and may not have any implications as to what these teams are going to do and whatnot. So remember, if I'm wrong, don't belittle me, educate me, because this is, after all, the Average Joe Hockey Report. Hockey opinions through the perspective of an average Joe. Take care, everyone, and follow my Instagram channel, The Average Joe Hockey Report, and my YouTube channel, in parentheses, Average Joe Hockey Report.